Erev Pesach, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about the Pesach table. The Pesach table doesn't just mean the Seder table, any table on which we eat any time on Pesach. If it's a table on which we've eaten any time during the year, that table has to be kashered, because there may be absorption of some chametz that one spilled. And now, if food that we're eating on Pesach touches any of that surface, it could absorb up that which has been absorbed, that's chametz. So we have to kasher the table. Kashering means pouring hot boiling water on the table. You're going to pour hot boiling water on the dining room table. Not the best thing. Furniture experts say not a good idea. And that's why we cover the table instead. Now, the minhag is to cover it with 2 covers to make sure that nothing that we might spill on Pesach absorbs from anything below, from the table itself. A clean tablecloth. Any tablecloth that has been laundered, it does not have to be a kosher Pesach tablecloth. There is really no such thing. Any clean tablecloth, any laundered tablecloth is kosher for Pesach. So, 2 covers, a double cover, one perhaps of plastic would be really, really good because the plastic is impenetrable, and then a second cover on top of that. You might ask, well, how about table pads? The table pad is there all year, so it's really no better than the table, no different from the table, and therefore we need to cover our table on top of a table pad twice over. By the way, a table pad is a good example as to why we have to have such care and carefulness, because it's got a fold and a bend. And in this crack, that's exactly where chametz could gather. And that's an example of why we have to cover our tables with double covers for Pesach. But again, you don't need a special tablecloth. Any clean laundered tablecloth, that's 1 cover, and then plastic underneath or above that, that's a second table cover. 2 table covers, and the Pesach table, any Pesach table is kosher for Pesach. Now let's talk about the refrigerator. Shelves in a refrigerator sometimes have chametz that falls on them. There can be some spillage from even a hot chametz soup. So the minhag is to cover refrigerator shelves. There are shelves, however, that never have hot food. Shelves that are made for and used for only cheese, cold drinks, or that egg shelf where there are little spaces for each egg. Those are not to be covered. They don't have to be covered because that's not a surface on which you've ever had any food, and there's no chashash, there's no concern of chametz having been lodged there. Just clean the shelf well. Shelves, however, for pots and pans that certainly contain chametz, those should be lined. A plastic liner is easily found in the store, and you can cut them to size. There are other shelves that don't have to be lined, and that's the fruit and vegetable bin. These are used only for fruits and vegetables. And because they're only used for fruits and vegetables, it's obvious that there's no chametz that's ever placed there. Certainly not hot chametz that ever spills out into that fruit or vegetable bin. And therefore, it's kosher for Pesach just by cleaning it out well. You don't have to line the fruit and or vegetable bin. Similarly, the freezer shelves, because they are probably used only for frozen foods, even foods that have been cooked and then have cooled and then are placed in the freezer, it's not necessary to line the freezer shelf. The freezer shelf should be cleaned well, and it's kosher for Pesach without having to be lined. Similarly, pantry closets. This is quite obvious in the case of a pantry closet that's not used for chametz, but only for canned goods. Even if those canned goods are chametz, there's no spill that you have to worry about. So here you have a pantry closet that's always clean, not only because it's Sari's pantry closet, but because it's not a pantry closet in which things could spill. Lower shelves here actually have chametz cereals on them, but again, that's not a food that spills and leaves behind anything that you have to worry about in terms of absorption. So that's why shelves that we are going to use for our foods for Pesach, if we can clean them really well, and we're sure that there won't be spilled flour or crumbs of cereal left behind, they don't have to be covered. They should be cleaned well, but they don't have to be covered. The same applies to a cupboard. There where we keep plates and clean utensils, knives, forks, there where we keep that which we know doesn't involve food, but only the utensils used with and for food, those don't have to be lined. They have to be well cleaned, but they don't have to be lined. So, to review, the table for Pesach is covered with 2 covers. Refrigerator shelves where food often lies and may have sometimes even spilled should best be lined with a plastic liner. But the fruit and vegetable bin, the freezer shelves, and even the shelves of our pantry don't have to be lined. They just have to be cleaned well, and I know they will be. Have a wonderful Chag Kosher.